So, Julia, with this second guy, how far did it go?
Are we kissing?
Oh, God.
What?
For me, the therapy will help.
You think the therapy did not help you at all?
So are you blaming me that our relationship is right now?
Not bad idea.
Do you think that Stacey should trust Florian?
Maybe not.
Oh boy, the past is definitely coming back to haunt some of these couples. But before we dive into just how bad things are starting to get for Stacey and Florian, let's pick up where the tell-all left off last week with Brandon and Julia. So it turns out that before Julia came to the States, she wasn't just involved with her ex, as she told Brandon, but there may have been at least one, but possibly more men that she was also getting close to.
So, Julia, with this second guy, how far did it go?
Are we kissing?
Oh, God.
What? Now, Jasmine, apparently determined to stir the pot today, wants to know just how intense the kissing got. But when Brandon says he doesn't want to know, they drop the topic. Keep in mind, right, when Julia told us about the first guy at the retreat, that first guy, the kissing that happened then, was while Brandon and Julia were dating. But, as Brandon points out, at the time of this second guy, they weren't just dating, they were actually engaged. Brandon had already filled out the K1 visa paperwork, like that is cheating. Only Julia refuses to accept that. She doesn't see it that way.
And he left, and we stopped speaking for a while. And I thinking we done, but he thinking we just have little fight. But in my brain, I thinking we done.
Ah, okay, so the defense is gonna be that they were on a break. Sounds familiar.
We were on a break!
But that doesn't stop it from hurting Brandon. Now, Sean turns back to Brandon's parents, who have joined on a video call, who Julia seems to have completely forgotten about, and asks them for their thoughts on this. And surprisingly, for once, they seem to be on Julia's side, or at least they help her out. It was a mistake, they say, but at the end of the day, at least she chose Brandon. So now they need to move on, get past this, and build on their lives together. But despite his parents' outlook on this, Brandon isn't so sure. He's now more suspicious, more filled with doubt than ever before.
You've never cheated since we've been married, correct?
No. After
Never.
when
You
I
swear to God.
I'm swear God, put me this machine for sage roof.
Now, for once, Julia actually does seem to realise that she's hurt Brandon. She even goes over and hugs her husband, right, while apologising, telling him that she doesn't want to hurt him. But I don't know what she was expecting, but that doesn't make it all better right away. Like, yet again, the very foundation of their relationship has been shaken.
I was serious when I met you. You didn't feel the same connection that I felt when I
have
met
a question.
you.
Did you
I
gonna
loved
let
you.
this go, or
I
you gonna be
loved you.
hold this for the rest
knew.
of our life?
I was serious about you from the moment that we met, Brandon says. Like, it's great that you've never cheated since coming to the States, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you've hurt me. You didn't love me as much as I loved you at the beginning. You've betrayed my trust again, he says. I mean, I get it. I understand why he feels like this. It's easy to say he needs to move forward, he needs to forgive and forget, but he's only just found out what's happened with a second guy, a new guy. A guy Julia hid from him again. Why didn't she bring this up at the resort? I mean, you can understand why he needs a moment to process this. And the question now becomes, can he still trust his wife?
But right now, you can't say that you 100% trust her.
No.
Acceptable.
So for as much as Julia is asking or begging him to move forward, right, for as much as even his own mum is saying that he needs to put it behind him for the sake of love, the truth is, Brandon will need time. Thankfully, Julia does seem to be willing to give that to him. Now, after all of the heaviness of this conversation, filming on the stage stops as the cast are given lunch, right? Lunch must come as a very welcome break at this moment. And Julia seizes on this break to try her very best to lighten the mood.
Oh my God!
Sex woman!
Sex woman.
Sex
Oh my God.
Of course, it's the perfect time for Sex Woman to make an appearance. She might be able to lighten the mood and even fight some crime too. And after some slight technical difficulties where Julia tries to figure out where her eyes are meant to go, she fully transforms into the role and becomes the hero that this tell-all deserves. All with a little help from her sidekick, Brandon.
This city has been plagued by crime and bad sex.
There is a new name to deliver justice.
It's a new name delivered to justice by Sex Woman!
So, a sex woman promises to fight for relationships and even gets Brandon to admit that what they've gone through is nothing in comparison to some of the other cast. At the same time, someone else is also dishing the tea. You see, Jasmine is also taking the time during lunch to phone Matt and update him on everything that's happened. She tells Matt that all of the guys have formed a group against her.
And they are like just attacking me. Rob calling me whore, prostitute, slut.
What?
Calling my baby like a bastard, mother.
Now, Matt tries his best to calm Jasmine down and console her. Gino's just trying to save face, he claims. Gino's the one that agreed to an open marriage. He's embarrassed about how everything went, so now he's just trying to turn everyone against you, Matt claims. Now, I guess Matt's words, his reassurances and his selective vision in how he and Jasmine contributed to this mess adequately pump Jasmine up and give her the boost that she needs in order to face the next battle.
I knew that a lot of people were gonna attack me and accuse me of cheating, but I'm not playing the victim. I'm not gonna be anybody's bitch. I'm nobody's victim. Like, them all.
Now, while unfortunately we don't get to hear any more about the Gino, Jasmine and Matt mess in this episode, I am certain that they're not going to let this tell-all end before going back to them. So, with that in mind, to make sure you don't miss out on any of the drama, can I just remind you to check that you've subscribed? If you haven't, well, now's the perfect time to join the community. Hit that subscribe button and let's carry on. So, with the lunch break now over, the cast are all called back on set, and this time, the focus of conversation falls on Stacey and Florian. Now, remember, they did already tell us in last week's episode that they are facing some serious trouble in their relationship, but now it's time to find out just how bad things have actually become. After we got back home from the resort, things were initially good, they say, but that didn't last long.
We weren't fighting. Obviously, time has passed, and I would say the last 3-4 months have been really rocky.
Sure, the retreat might have helped us to get back on track, it might have helped us to stop being so irritated with each other, but, says Florian, it had nothing to do with the therapy, right? I still don't believe in therapy, he says. Now, keep in mind, this is the same guy, in fact, I think it's the only guy out of all of the cast who in their recommitment speech actually made a point of thanking the therapist.
I don't believe in therapy before, and I'm surprised I learned little things from therapy, you know.
But now, months later, he claims he doesn't believe in therapy and the only reason he actually went through with all of this was because of Stacey. If you want to know the truth, he says, the only reason why I think things seemed to be getting better is because at that point we were both trying harder. But that inference, the inference that the effort has now subsided, doesn't sit well with Stacey.
So are you blaming me that our relationship...
No, I'm not blaming
Because it
you.
sounds like
I'm saying what is it?
if I put in the work and the effort, then we're good.
Not bad idea.
Wow, okay, so Florian admits that their relationship is on a downward spiral. It's getting worse every day. But that being the case, if he really thought that telling Stacey she needs to put in more effort was going to help things, well, he's seriously miscalculated. I guess he really didn't learn anything during therapy. Now, Stacey repeats what she's been complaining about the entire resort. She says, it feels like my husband doesn't see me, doesn't understand me. Heck, it actually feels like he doesn't even like me. And understandably, it's those feelings that she just can't shake that have spilled over and caused issues in other areas of their marriage too.
We haven't slept together.
In how long?
Intimate, I would say a good 4 months.
Oh, wow.
You know, and he doesn't initiate sex.
Okay, hold on a minute. Is this the same guy that we saw at the retreat? The same guy who, throughout the entire retreat, kept on repeating one piece of advice to his buddy Gino?
When Gino is the problem, is he refused to touch her, is he refused to do sex with her, is he refused to sleep with her. Do sex with your wife, find a solution.
How often did we hear Florian tell Gino that having sex with his wife would help solve all of their problems? Oh, the irony, right? Now that guy isn't sleeping with his own wife. How the tables have turned. Maybe if he'd followed his own advice, his own marriage might not be in the dire straits that it now is. But make no mistake, sex isn't the only problem that Stacey and Florian face. You see, Stacey also happens to be going through something that Florian just doesn't understand.
I'm just gonna be honest and real. I'm going through menopause, and it's kind of hard to talk about.
I know how cool for menopause.
I didn't understand a one word you said.
Stacey says that she herself is still trying to figure out how to handle menopause and all of the hormonal changes that it brings. She doesn't blame Florian for not getting it. I barely understand it myself, she says, but it has caused even more tension between us. Now, she goes on to explain that thanks to her hormones, she's now less likely than ever to back off before a fight happens. That, coupled with the fact that Florian himself has a pretty explosive temper, as we saw at the retreat, isn't exactly a formula for a calm, tranquil relationship.
Shut the up! Shut your
Florian's temper causes tension between us, she says, because when he gets angry, he calls me all sorts of names and he shouts. But despite then being shown a montage of all the times he lost his temper during the retreat, despite the fact that Stacey was often the one having to apologise on his behalf, Florian maintains that it's still not his fault. He still doesn't think that he has an issue.
Yeah, other people to trick my fun, to trick me, leave me alone. Florian, leave alone him, there. I'm not going to say nothing. I don't have anger issues, but just leave me alone.
Florian says that he doesn't have anger issues. I'm just easily triggered by other people, he says. If they all leave me alone, then there'd be no problem. I go out to bars and clubs often, he says. There's never been a problem when I've gone out. Why? Because no one messes with me. It's quite funny. He seems so sure about this, and yet no one else agrees with him. In fact, Stacey takes it one step further to say she's actually worried he could one day mess up both of their lives by doing something stupid whilst in a fit of anger. And even some of the other cast members call him out on this too.
Your actions is totally unacceptable.
Florian, I love you like a brother, but I do think you have some anger issues.
Gosh, if you're acting that bad that even Gino and Jasmine agree on something, then you should know that you are in trouble. But, again, Florian refuses to accept this. He just doesn't see it that way. At this point, there's zero chance that they're going to make him see his problem. So Sean decides to move on. Now, it's at this point that they invite some special guests onto the stage.
The diva arrives!
Oh my God!
Good day!
Where's Natalie?
Of course! The tell-all wouldn't be complete without all members at the retreat showing up at the tell-all, right? And this time, Darcy has brought her husband Georgie along too. Now, the pair of them say that they were happy when they learnt that Florian and Stacey were going to be attending the retreat because they hoped that it would help them sort out all of their issues. But, Darcy says, I had absolutely no clue that I was also one of those problems.
Do you feel like there has been a boundary crossed?
If I knew it had bothered her, I really wouldn't have, crossed any certain lines.
But despite the fact that she understands and knows that it bothers her sister, Darcy still doesn't think that it's weird that she calls Florian late at night. Florian's my brother, she says. He listens to me. I normally call him up to vent about my own relationship, she claims. Now, Stacey still doesn't like this, right? But what about the fourth person in this dynamic? How does Georgie feel about Florian and Darcy being so close?
Georgie, do you think Darcy and Florian are too close?
I don't think so. I don't think there's something to worry about.
Florian and Darcy's friendship, says Georgie, is a tiny issue in comparison to all of the much, much bigger issues in Florian and Stacey's marriage. Now, with this in mind, I guess he's the perfect person whose opinion we should get. But Georgie's opinion isn't one that Florian wants to hear.
Do you think that Stacey should trust Florian?
Maybe not.
And on that bombshell, with Georgie saying that Stacey shouldn't trust Florian 100%, the episode ends. It's ended on a cliffhanger. I'm desperate to know why exactly Georgie feels that way. Does he have proof that Florian can't be trusted? Is there another incident like the blondes at the bar that we're going to learn about? Well, I guess we're going to find out next week. And if you haven't already seen the main drama from this week, this is the video to watch next.